Hello, everybody. It is me, Empress Kazuzi, and today we're here talking about Moon Knight Episode 2. Another day, another week of the Fist of Vengeance. So, into spoilers for Episode 2. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, then go and watch it and come back. But if you're here just to be here and to just listen to me talk about this episode, a short discussion, and me just having my thoughts on this, then you can stay. Or you can leave and then watch it and then come back and then we can just discuss it. Or you can just listen to me talk about it. Whatever you want. All right, so let's get right into this. So there was a lot of questions and a lot of answers. A lot of questions that I had going into this from the first episode. Like, there's things that I know from the comics, things here and there. I wouldn't say I know everything about Moon Knight, like back in my episode one review. But like one thing that was answered in this episode was how, like, there's a dilemma in like the comics where like you don't know if Mark was like already crazy or like already had like a broken mind and have multiple personalities, like before Khonshu chose him as his avatar and then resurrected him and then brought it back to life. And in this episode, we found out that there's a deal between Mark Spector and the god. I guess the deal that we learned is that I'm going to go all over the place in this review because there's only like a few points that I have up on this point chart because not much stuff happened, but not much. This is going into the way that I used to to review animes, or I guess still review animes. I haven't reviewed just an anime episode in so long, but like Khonshu wants to take Mark Spector's wife that we find out is Layla. Who knows if that wife thing is even true? But apparently, when she showed up, apparently she's Mark's wife, and then she has trouble like dealing with Mark as a separate personality. Apparently, she knows about Mark and knows about him transforming into the Moon Knight persona and having like the cape and everything like that. But like, she didn't. She doesn't know. Apparently, they like worked together and that they were looking for like the talisman thing, like the God, I already forgot what it was called. The scarab. Scarab. There we go. I got it right there. I just remembered it. So apparently they were searching for it together, but then Mark decided to, I guess, leave it alone because I guess he found out that Khonshu was thinking about using her as his next avatar. But then Mark wanted to make a deal with Khonshu to make it so that way that would never happen. But I like it how even Khonshu says that somehow Layla would be a better Moon Knight than Mark. I'm just like, why would you even have this in the episode? Like, I don't want to be mad about like, you know having characters be like changed with a female character. Like if like it like if there's a reason for it, then yeah. But it's like, oh, I guess she's better than Mark, even though I guess she must be a super mercenary just like Mark, and then I guess she's the better mercenary. I also find out that cult leader Arthur Ethan Hawke, he I'm just gonna this is what I'm just gonna call him in these. I'm just gonna call him those that whole title. That's his whole title. Apparently, even though that he's the avatar of Amit right now, that apparently he tells Steven, because he ends up having a conversation with Steven, because Steven this episode just wants like tries to talk to Mark at the beginning of the episode because he wakes up after Moon Knight was beating the crap out of that jackal. I hate how I called it a dog monster in my episode one review. Like, I forgot that a jackal was called a jackal. As soon as when I realized that, I'm just like, oh yeah, because like, and then it reminded me of like the jackal from the Spider-Man Clone Saga, and then also reminded me of like when another Clone Saga happened recently a couple years ago with like a jackal that wore a jackal mask and not a jackal that looked like a big green Grinch. But that's a little bit off topic. But like when they showed him like waking up from that, thinking that's a dream, but not thinking it was a dream because his head is all messed up. Like Steven even like loses his job in this episode because they like he like goes to like the he goes to the security guy again to like try to like show them what happened because he goes to work the next day after waking up from I guess having Mark taken over as Moon Knight, and then he ends up going to work to see what happens, and he sees that it's all covered up and there's like police everywhere and stuff like that, and then he goes to the security camera to see what happens, and then he says, "Hey mate, look at this," and he tries to show the security guard what happened, but all it does is show apparently the monster. Even throughout this episode, no one can see the monster. Like even like Layla like tries to like see like Mark just fighting nothing, but then he ends up like smashing. I guess she ends up throwing glass at it, and then it shows it. I really like it how they're just invisible. I really like it how it's just like the otherworldly things are just invisible and you can't see it. But at least like even like a part where like Steven is talking to Mark uh and Khonshu. I think I'm starting to get used to the voice a little bit. I think I do like the voice for Conchu. In my first episode review, I said that I had to get used to it, but I think that by in the second episode, I kind of gotten used to it once I hear him more and hear him talk, and he's just like talking shit to Steven. I like it how he just like I think that he probably wants Layla, even though that towards the ending of the episode where he talks to Mark, Conchu, and him, he ends up like saying that he does want to work with Mark, and I guess he's just trying to like keep Mark like I guess like on the mark by saying that he'll by having this deal go on. Like even like the cult leader was just like uh oh yeah, did I yeah, I'm going all over the place. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But even the cult leader says that he was the previous like Khonshu worshiper before Mark, like the avatar before him, and then so he knows. I guess Khonshu's like the things that he says to you, and this thing that he says to his avatars and things like that, and then tries to like persuade Steven to go on him, but he's also trying to get the scarab, and apparently the scarab is like a giant compass that apparently leads to Ahmet's tomb. I have no idea what because apparently Khonshu wanted to use it. I have no idea what it would have used like for Khonshu, because apparently there's like this thing that Mark and like Khonshu have this thing where they're talking about what the compass was going to do, and apparently it was going to help Khonshu. But I guess now since it's in the cult leader's hand with Ahmet, I guess they're just going to use it to go to that. I get go to their go to where I guess Ahmet is buried, and then they're gonna like resurrect him, or maybe there's like something there that can just resurrect it. Who knows if it's gonna resurrect for real, or like who knows if it even has the same like potential power as Khonshu, like just being like around, like I guess in his mind, or like not like in his mind, just around, just talking to Steven, talking to Mark, and like that. And then like I was saying earlier, there, or what I was gonna say was that Steven this whole episode is just like trying to like once like Mark starts talking to Steven again, because at the beginning of the episode Steven tries to talk in the mirror, Mark doesn't talk to him, but then once Layla comes around after like he ends up like going to like apparently when he took the phone, there was also a key with the phone when he found that secret compartment in the first episode. So then he had to take the he had to like figure out what the key went to, and apparently it went to a storage locker. So he went to a few places, got to a place where someone recognized him as Mark and not as Steve, and he ended up opening it. But then as he tries to leave the place, Mark tells him to just leave everything alone. But then Conchu comes, then tries to. That scene is pretty cool with Conchu. How Mark is no Steven is like grabbing Mark's stuff and then wants to like just send it into the authorities, but apparently everyone apparently the fucking cult leader guy got everyone with that like weight distributor on their arms, has that little like tattoo that can like judge you. And then we even find out that Ahmet is a little bit disturbing, because apparently uh apparently they do that thing where you're being judged early. I'm trying to remember, there was like another series or another thing where something judged you early. Oh, just remembered. It's the Civil War II storyline in the comics, where there was like a mutant or like an inhuman that like miss that Captain Marvel used to like try to like stop people or jail people before they did things. And then like there's this whole thing where he saw a potential future, not the main future, like a potential future where there was a part where like Miles Morales was going to kill Captain America, but then that's like in the future, so they're just trying to stop people from doing things without even like the Miles Morales wasn't even gonna do that, but then for some reason, since it's a potential future, you need to like throw him in jail and then or kill him, and there's like a lot of like stuff happening with that. So I guess Met could judges people based on a potential future of them maybe being a bad person, but at the same time, even like Steven like talks to the cult leader at the end, towards the end of this episode, and he like says, does he even judge children? Or no, does this alligator lady? I like it how she's an alligator lady based on what Steven said to the cult leader, that but she summons jackals. I guess it's because they're an Egyptian group, so they can just summon whatever creatures they want. It would have been cool if there was like a giant crocodile monster that you could summon, but I guess that would be a lot harder to like CGI in than just a man looking creature with a dog head. And I really liked Steven turning into Mr. Knight. It's definitely a lot different than what I thought. Definitely a lot different than the way that Mr. Knight acts in the comics. Like he's like this suave guy that I don't really know much about, but I did watch a few. I had a few clips recommended to me on YouTube of someone voice acting as Mr. Knight in certain scenes, and when I see just the dialogue and stuff like that, it does not match Stephen Grant as Mr. Knight. Stephen Grant in Control, or I guess this version of Stephen Grant, in the Mr. Knight costume in that suit was just funny. Like he even like somehow he lost the scarab by the end of this episode, and it ended up in the cult leader's hands because he took off his costume, like he took off a part of his costume, but it was in that part of costume, even though that it was like I guess it was because he was in his regular like Stephen Grant like his gray jacket. So then when he took off the white part of his suit, he like left it on the ground. So then his suit disappeared and dissipated into magic. But then since the scarab didn't come back onto him, it just went on the ground. So then he just ended up just the call leaders ended up grabbing it towards the end of the episode, and Layla sees this, and then she drives off to I guess meet up with Mark again and have stuff going. This one like rant that I could have about this episode is when like Layla could not understand Mark because Mark is in the Steven personality, but at the same time because Steven is such a fucking fumbling mess, he can't like get it through to her that he's like some sort of like he even could have just have said like he even could have said amnesia, like amnesia, but then like she's just there to just divorce him because they're not helping each other getting the scarab, and they're just blah 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 blah. Who knows what's going on with this? But apparently, like Steven gets captured by police at that episode that ends up getting him to the call leader towards that episode where like the call leader tries to like get Steven on his side and then says you don't need to listen to Mark or Khonshu and you can just join our side. But then of course he ends up having like a judgmental sort of like morality questions with him, and then like I like it how like it's either the call leader is just like wacko or he's just a manipulating just normal guy. It's kind of cool in that sort of aspect that's going on with him, and then Steven and Mark. I like it how also at the end of so Mark finally takes control once Steven lets him, and he ends up turning into Mr. Knight to Moon Knight, kills off the Jackal, and then he just takes control, and then Steven ends up being the one in the mirror, and Steven's just like, I don't like it in here. I want to be in control. I have no idea what I was doing right there. That almost, it's like I was trying to do a British accent, but that wasn't British. But Steven tries to take control, but then Mark says, "No, you are gonna stay there. I'm in control. You can have this body back when I'm done with it." And then he just ends up like kick smashing that mirror, like in the trailers, to like get Steven to go away for him to be in control. And then the end of the episode just goes to Mark in Egypt because he needs to follow the cult leader guy Arthur to Egypt as and tries to stop him from I guess resurrecting a god and have other things going on. I think I mentioned everything this episode. There might be things that I missed from what happened this episode, but I think I got over everything. This was a jumbled mess. Might not even do reviews for episode 3, 4, 5, 6. I might just do like a whole just series review once all those episodes are done. Since I think by the time that this video comes out, episode 4 is already out, and I just don't know how to structure these videos. It's just a rumbling mess of me just going over the episode, talking about it. If you enjoyed my thoughts and things I thought about this episode and just answered questions, what happened, discuss it, leave a like. If you didn't enjoy this whatsoever, you can leave a dislike. That's your opinion. That's your thoughts. And yeah, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. See you later.